Manchester United reportedly in big talks with the RB Leipzig youngster, very talented striker. By all accounts, I don't know much about him, Benjamin Šeško. We're going to delve into that story, plus look at the situation with Liverpool Football Club and Jude Bellingham. They are reportedly winning the race for a 2023 summer transfer deal. Scamacca to West Ham is done, as reported by the Italian media. And on top of that, the big Tielemans battle. Is that about to start this week with Manchester United seemingly missing out on Frenkie de Jong? Make sure you're smashing the like buttons. Get ready to phone in and have your say as well. Let's do this. Let's go. Good morning and welcome back to the terrace, ladies and gentlemen. A big shout out to our title sponsors today, Private Internet Access. Lots of you, I'm actually overwhelmed by the amount of you that have signed up to our partners over the course of this weekend. It's unbelievable. But you do need a VPN when you're using the internet. You need to make sure you are safe, secure, and all your data is protected at all times. 3 months free and up to 82% off. It is unbreakable VPN security with no strict login protocols and tons of customizable private features to protect your data. It's available on all your devices, laptops, iPhones, Androids, everything that uses the internet you can log into. Zero restrictions, unlimited content wherever it is that you are. Very important that you get yourself signed up to that, people. And as I always show you on here, £1.63 per month is the cost. Go and get that done at the end of the show. Now, it was a very interesting weekend in the transfer market. It really was. And I've seen a lot of people frustrated and a lot of people angry. People said certain deals were going to happen. We've been told personal terms are agreed here. We were told this deal was done. It's the nature of the transfer window, my people. It is the nature of the transfer window. It's why I love it and enjoy it so much, that until you see that shirt being held, there is always a chance of a sting in the towel. There was always a chance that things fall through. And I was speaking to a journalist last night, and I've shared it. If you're part of the Football Terrace notification groups on Telegram, you've already seen it. I was on WhatsApp talking to a journalist last night, and I'll read you my words to him. I read you my words to the individual, because it's in the group. You can go look at it and check it out. Like, it's there. It's been around. And I said, Chelsea legit thought Koundé was done. I was told today. Mad. That was just my words. Come back saying, yeah, well, basically, it is / was. Barca are such a pain. And this is why these deals happen in this way, and they can be quite painful, because Chelsea Football Club quite literally briefed the media to say it's done. We've got the deal done. The Sevilla press, go back and look at what they were saying. Like, it's all Chelsea. It's 100% done. We move forward. And these things have a habit of biting you in the backside. If you're a fan of that particular football club, players change their minds. Clubs change their minds. This happens on a very regular basis. And it's just the nature of the beast. Now, one of the interesting stories that also came out over the course of this weekend was this here, as you can see. It says an Austrian newspaper. I've researched them, and they appear to be more German. But either way, it says here that RB Salzburg striker, I think I might have said Leipzig. I got that wrong, sorry. RB Salzburg striker Benjamin Šeško is in big talks with Manchester United. His agent is in London finalising the transfer. Now, it's kind of been played down a little bit since then. I wanted to go to the original report, which comes from these individuals here. It's kind of been played down a little bit by the likes of Fabrizio Romano, who have very much stated that the deal is more early stages, nothing advanced, and nothing at a point where you would say it's imminent arrival. But an intriguing deal nevertheless. I remember the early kind of reports about Malacia before we really knew who he was, that United were linked to him, before the big boys really got involved. And there ended up being a fair amount of credibility to those reports. I'm not going to sit here and lie. I know, other than what I've read in the last 12 hours, I know absolutely nothing about Benjamin Šeško. And I'm really intrigued to start watching people calling him a baller. I'm really intrigued for people to start saying he's really bad, when in fact, I would say that 90% of people that consume Premier League football as their base league have almost zero idea about this guy. He's not a player. He's a player's name that I have not seen mentioned on the TL once until he was linked to Manchester United yesterday. So what of the deal? It's one of those interesting ones. Firstly, I replied to Fabrizio's tweet yesterday, actually. Some people just don't get tongue-in-cheek jokes. I even use like a wink and a laughing emoji so people know. Well, I'm like, well, he didn't play for Ajax, so I don't believe it. So a very different profile of player to who else we've been linked to. A very tall striker, more of a number 9. Goal-wise, there's not been a lot of goals or outputs in his career, but he is only 19 years of age. He's fresh. He is young. He has that size on him. And I've already seen headlines like the new Haaland. I think it's very irresponsible to be calling him the new Haaland. Haaland at his age was tearing up the Champions League, was scoring a colossal amount of goals. So I don't think right now there can be a comparison between those two individuals. Personally, I don't think that can be done. But it's an intriguing signing. It's an intriguing signing because I quite like the I wouldn't call him an obscure signing, but the signings that kind of come out of nowhere. I'm always intrigued by them. Or how good is this individual? There's a kind of an excitement because you don't know so much about the individual. So we will see. The one thing that's off-putting is already you're seeing reports that RB Salzburg want £55 million for him, which is crazy. Absolutely crazy. Someone's saying to me here, it's Šeško, not Sesko. He's a wonder kid in Football Manager. Maybe he is. But we will see. We will see. I mean, I just don't know much about him. I only know his name, by the way. I just run it through Google Translate, and that's how Google Translate pronounced it. So I'm at that point where I'm just running man's name through the internet. I don't know how to say his name. I don't know how to say his name. Obviously, there looks like there's accents over the S's. So yeah, there are probably ways of saying them that I should know. But if I actually Google, you put it into, is he Slovenian? So if you put it into Slovenian, the Google Translate. If you say it in English, they pronounce it this way:
Benjamin Šeško.
Sesko, they say. You're saying it's wrong. Either way, I'll work that out later. Just because a player is linked to your club, don't hype them up, Terry. I bet you haven't even seen him play. I'm sorry. I know you remember, and I want to respect you, but where have I hyped him up? I literally just said I don't know anything about him. I'm not going to say he's great. I'm not going to say he's bad. Where have I hyped him up? KJ always tells me that people listen to you, Terry, and they hear what they want to hear. Terry, you said this. 95% of the time I didn't. Like, where, Francisco, I respect you. You're a member of the Football Terry, but where did I just hype him up? I said that an unknown signing can be exciting because you don't know so much. It's like, oh, I wonder what he's like. But where did I hype him up? Where? Where did I hype him up, my bro? Sometimes some of your comments make me die. Legitimately make me die. Like, where did I hype him up? Crazy. I literally did the opposite to what you're saying. Yeah. But crazy. Cole B here says 55 million is too much for him. That's United tax. Yeah, 55 million would be, again, it wouldn't. If he comes in and he is this new Haaland, if he is absolute superstar wonder kid, over the next 7-8 years, averages 25 goals a season, 55 million will seem cheap. If he comes in at 55 million pounds and he's Kiko Makeda, then you're in trouble. You're in absolute trouble. So yeah, it really does kind of depend on everything. Oh, I didn't even say that you hyped him up. Yeah, but I've not seen anybody hyping him up. That's the point. Like, I think it's fair to accuse people of hyping him up if you see people hyping him up. But I haven't seen his name mentioned. And even like people that pretend like they watch European football on the regs, no one pretends to watch the Austrian league. Like, people pretend to watch lots of La Liga. They pretend to watch lots of Ligue 1. They don't. They watch highlights or they watch the big games. But nobody watches Austrian football. I wonder, I reckon less than 30,000 people, I reckon less than 5,000 people a week in England tune into Austrian football. I get maybe even less than that. You might find they're Austrian nationals that live here. I want goals. 15 says 55 million for an unproven teenager. Absolutely ludicrous. Yeah, I couldn't agree more. I think that if you look at if he had scored 7-8 goals in the Champions League last year and scored 40 league goals, I could get it because you could say, wow, this kid's something. But there's nothing so far that makes you think that would warrant that kind of money. But as you say, Manchester United tax is real. Someone here saying, Terry, deals aren't done until they're holding the shirt. See, that's why, it's an interesting comment that's why I differentiate the language. Done deals and deals being complete are two separate things. And I believe that the transfer world needs to adjust its language. And I'll give you an example. Scamacca. This report has come from Matt Moretto, very credible journalist. Scamacca to West Ham is all done. The player will travel to London tomorrow for his medical. It can still fall through. The deal can be done. The deal can be agreed to. Certain elements of paperwork can either be signed and the deal can fall through. So that's why I adjust my language. Done deal means deal's agreed. Deal complete means it's finalized. Now, you can be told a deal will complete. You can be, because Chelsea briefed the press Friday. The deal for the player will go through. The Sevilla press briefed the press. The deal with Chelsea will go through. And then there was a change. And that change made everything go in the other direction. But yes, Scamacca is actually done, as they say. The Macca is a done deal. He will become a West Ham player, pending no last-minute sabotages, hijacks, gate crashes or anything like that, or medicals not going through. He'll become the deal has been agreed between the two football clubs. That will get over the line as well. But that's going to be a real interesting one, that, because Arsenal were linked with him and there was a lot of hype. PSG were linked with him. Now West Ham have got him. You wouldn't have probably expected West Ham from that point to get him, but they have. Very intriguing signing indeed. Very intriguing. Very intriguing. Is this a Rangnick recommendation? What I did read last night is that this is a player that Man United have seemingly been scouting for a while, and this is where like the club and Ten Hag will work together. Well, we need another option. We need another player in a certain area. Who we've been scouting, let's look at some reports, let's look at some footage. Oh, okay, that I think I could get something out of him. That's where club recruitment teams kind of work together and do their best to try and create the best possible options. So it could have been a player that was recommended by Rangnick, especially with the RB connections. Who the hell is Scamacca? Very talented player. We'll see how that translates into the Prem, but very talented player indeed. Morning, Terry. Deals have fell through due to medical issues in the past. Exactly. Which is why I think, now again, done deal could be when it completes, but it doesn't seem like the right phrase. Because a deal being done is different from something being signed. That's why for me, I did it for the Terrace. And I've said this to people before. I couldn't give a monkey's if people outside of our community don't like my breakdown, but my breakdown makes more sense in my opinion. Like my favorite one is how everybody uses it. And what I mean by this is, like world class, 20 people can have 20 different definitions of what world class is. The same is in the transfer window. Different journalists call different deals at different points advanced. And I'm like, what do you mean? It depends on where you scale the process. I think of advance as the talks and the negotiations. Once the negotiations are over and a deal's done, the rest of it is formalities. So it's not an advancement. But that's just, again, my interpretation. So that's why I want to create my own index that I use on the Terrace so that you understand what I'm saying in terms of my opinions. What I'm told something by a journalist, how I then describe it is based on that metric. If you go by my metric, like, I'm consistent. And that way you will know where I'm at. My issue with some journalists is that it's so hit and miss. They'll tell you 1 minute, they'll tweet that personal terms are always agreed before the deal, and then they start talking about deals that are personal terms ain't been done yet. Well, how's the process work then? Why is it suddenly different to how you told us? It never makes sense. You know what I mean? But anyway, I digress. That's why I did it. And I know you guys like it and enjoy it. That's why you're here. That's why you're here. It's what we do. World class to me is a player that is rated class all over the world. Some countries haven't even heard of players that are called world class in this country. Yeah, I mean, again, that's a completely different definition to me, but I hear you. One of the other deals that I want to speak about this morning as well is Jude Bellingham. This story here comes out and says Liverpool are leading the race to sign Jude Bellingham in the summer of 2023. And I've seen a number of reports like this, that Jude Bellingham, there's been breakthroughs, Liverpool are working on this deal, big talks are happening. But it will be for the summer of 2023. And I'm intrigued by that because especially if they strike a deal with Dortmund this summer for next year, how do Liverpool fans feel about that? I'm not saying you're writing this year off, but it's much harder for you to win the Premier League without an additional midfield player this year than waiting. But that's the FFG have worked this way before. They've waited for their targets. And if Liverpool do sign Jude Bellingham, ridiculous. Now, a comment here says, can Liverpool sign Jude Bellingham this season? I mean, they can. Will they? Not in my opinion, no. I don't think Liverpool will pull that deal off this season. I just don't see it happening. A lot of money, very difficult to get done. So, yeah, I just don't see it personally. Now, it doesn't mean it won't happen. You know, stranger things have happened before in football. But we will see. Yeah, I just don't personally think it's a deal that will happen and we'll get over the line. But that's just me. Morning, Shane O'Hare. Hope you're well. By the way, people, if we hit a tidy little 850 likes on this stream, I will give out another 10 free memberships. So remember just to keep smashing that like button as soon as you arrive so we can give out more memberships. I see a lot of you in here have that. 1:30 today, not Ben Jacobs today, Dean Jones is on the terrace to go through transfer news, and 6 p.m. the top 6 show is back. So make sure you're with us today. Lots of content for you. Tomorrow, Lee Gunner is back. Either Martin Braithwaite will reject Chelsea. Oh, I don't know about that. Madrid are also in the Bellingham race. They are in the Bellingham race. I don't quite know how that works, though. If I'm being blunt, if I'm being honest, I don't quite know how they pull off Jude Bellingham. And I say that because I don't quite understand how. I don't quite understand how they fit Bellingham. Maybe they do. Maybe I'm not understanding how they fit Bellingham, Camavinga, and Tchouaméni into their team. And the reason I say that is this: positionally, yes, but it's the age of all three of them. Is that sensible and the right approach to have 3 players of that age and of that kind of ilk all running in midfield? Could that not leave you a little bit exposed? Because as talented as they are, it's that experience factor that's maybe needed. Maybe they need an additional experienced midfielder to come in and really knit them all together. Or maybe it's a case of having all 3, still utilizing the Toni Krooses and the Modric's for another year or 2 until those individuals are more mature. So maybe that's the approach they're going to go with. But yeah, Valverde as well. You know, they've got a lot of talent in there. I just don't quite know if they all fit together. You know, it's a bit like when people were talking about, oh, you could have Mbappe and Haaland in the same team. I just never saw it. Sometimes you can't put all the talent in one place. It doesn't always blend in the way in which people think that it will, but we'll see. Mark Stan here says, do you feel that Scamacca would be a better purchase for United? Again, I'm not going to judge on that because the one thing with me is that if I don't know much about players, I'm not going to start pitting them off against each other. I know very little about them. I've barely seen them play, so it's very difficult. This Benjamin Šeško, I know nothing about him. So I don't know how good or bad he is. I've started watching stuff on him on Y Scout, And there's a talent in there, like there's talent, but I don't know enough about him. I don't know enough about the individual. I don't know enough about the way he plays, the way he operates, the way he does things. And until you know that, it's very hard to pit him against anybody. There's an excitement about not knowing anything, especially if that player ends up being really, really good. But there's certainly a talent in there, as you say, very tall, right-footed, strong, But I'm intrigued to know. I'd want to watch him more. The guys. What I did notice about him is when you look at his heat map, very centralized, traditional number 9, and it's intriguing when you could break down his stats. I mean, not a great chance creator as an example, but good at holding the ball up. On average, only loses the ball around 7 times per game. But what you do need to look at, though, is touches, right? So what's really important, and I was breaking this down with someone the other day, is people always go straight to the how many times does someone lose possession stat. Bruno has kind of made that thing now. But I look more at the amount of times they lose the ball per touch. So I'll give you an example with this kid. He loses the ball 7 times per game. Doesn't sound a lot, does it? But he only touches it 20 times. So he's losing possession. He's losing possession close to 50% of the time he gets it. If you're touching the ball 80 times a game and you're losing it 15, yes, you're losing it twice as much as this guy, but you're not really, because you're touching the ball 4 times as much. So in fact, you're losing it half the amount of time as this guy does. I was looking at that the other day, and I'm going to release it. I'm going to do a little stat thing. Not how many times a player loses the ball per game, how many times per game do they lose the ball on a percentage versus the touches they get. So I looked at Bukayo Saka's. Bukayo Saka loses the ball on average, I think, 14 times per game, but he touches it 49 times. Where other wingers that play in his position are getting it generally 20 to 30 times more and losing it the same amount of times as him. It means the amount of times he loses the ball is a much higher percentage. So what's worse? It's just an interesting take on the stats. So I've looked at this guy's stats. I've looked at, there's some good things, there's some poor things, but of course he's 19. He was born in 2003, God damn it. I left school longer than he's been alive. It's crazy. It is crazy. But there we go. 7 out of 20 is 33%, Terry. I hear what you're saying. Well, listen, okay, look, I'm just rounding up. I'm talking generalities here. Like, he's 3 more times away from losing it 50%. And when you're talking small numbers, the percentages jump up and down real quick. But 7 out of 20 is nearer to halfway than you would like it to be, is my point, my friend. Like, if he loses it 1 more time, what's the percentage then? Like 40, like each time it jumps up massively because you're talking small numbers. So, so 33% of the time is a lot. But if you lose it it's actually 7.6. So it's a little bit. If you actually put 7.6 in, then, my friend, what we're looking at here, let's do 7.6 divided by the 20. Suddenly we're at 38% just because of 0.6 more. Like, for half a percentage, well, just over 0.5%, you're talking 8% growth. Like, it's huge. So it's yeah, you get my point, though. You get my point. And in the Premier League, is he going to lose the ball more? Yes, a lot more in the Premier League, brother. So look, there we go. Terry, is this losing the ball stat being tackled in a game? It's being tackled in a game. It's when you have a shot and if you score a goal, it counts as losing possession because the ball then goes back to your opponents. If you have a shot and it goes wide and it's a goal kick, you lost possession. If you have a shot and it deflects and you get a corner, it doesn't. So it's everything. It's losing the ball with your first touch. It's all encompassing in many ways. But there we go. I think Liverpool can sign Jude this season only if Luis Diaz's situation takes place again. Yeah, maybe if somebody, but that's the thing. I don't think Liverpool are waiting for next summer because they want to wait till next summer. I think it's a Dortmund thing. I don't think Dortmund want to sell him. But if Dortmund agreed today to sell him for £90 million to PSG, Liverpool would go in and bid. I think more than Liverpool would go in and bid. Everybody would try and get him. But this is a different situation. Dortmund are appearing to not be willing to sell him at this moment in time. So I think the scenario is a little different. Really and truly. Really and truly. Terry, who are the teams battling for Tielemans? That's a really good question. And I wanted to speak about that this morning because we saw the news yesterday that Frenkie de Jong is maybe going to take a pay cut. And this was something that we were told was categorically not going to happen, not in the cards. I don't know exactly what Fabrizio's words were. And the irony is people say to me, I only believe transfers and stories that Fabrizio puts out. So if you're going to believe Fabrizio, you may believe that the player never wanted Man United. Cool. But you've also got to understand that Fabrizio also said that the player is not will not take a pay cut. And now he is taking a pay cut. That's the point. No one journalist is right about everything or wrong about everything. The situation is fluid because people change their minds. So if Frenkie de Jong decides I'm going to take a pay cut and I'm going to stay, Man United need to get away from that transfer as quick as possible, and they need to make a move for somebody else. Now, Youri Tielemans is on the list, ironically, according to Fabrizio and other journalists. So United need to make a move. Now, he's been an Arsenal target for a long, long time, Youri Tielemans. Arsenal have been looking at him. Arsenal have been monitoring him. Arsenal seemingly wanted to get him done. However, Arsenal haven't got it over the line. Arsenal haven't completed the deal. Arsenal haven't even made a formal move for him, which is intriguing. And if Man United do get involved, it's going to cost Arsenal more than it really would. £35 million is what they could have got him for. There's now talk of it jumping up to 40 to £45 million if another club gets involved, i.e. a bidding war. And look, is Youri Tielemans as good as Frenkie de Jong? No. But if Frenkie de Jong signs a new deal and takes a pay cut, you ain't getting Frenkie de Jong next year. And I know I said about a week ago that I'm standing behind Ten Hag here. And if Ten Hag wants to wait a year to get this guy, then I'd rather wait. But if he becomes unattainable and he's absolutely impossible to get, you have to move on. You can't sign nobody. My train of thought remains the same. Man United, if they don't get 70 odd million in totality they were prepared to pay for Frenkie de Jong, I think you can get Ruben Neves and Tielemans for that same price. Now, some people wanted that from the beginning of the summer, and they're entitled to that opinion. That's what I would want to see Man United respond with. I'm annoyed with Man United if they don't get this de Jong deal done because I'm not saying it feels like they've been done. But again, they were confident they were going to get this over the line. Remember, Simon Stone and Simon Peach and Laurie Whitwell and these guys that spoke of the deferred wages holding this up, personal terms being agreed or being no problems, in terms of what Tom McDermott reported, all these things, they were briefed that by the football club. The football club told the journalists. It's a bit like Chelsea fans being angry with the journalists about the Koundé will sign, Koundé is done. Your football club told them. Be angry at your football club for getting it wrong. Not the journalists weren't wrong. Chelsea told them that. Man United briefed the British press and said, this is where we're at. This is what we're doing. We are confident based on these things. If they've got that wrong because they've misread the situation, don't have a go at the journalists that said it. Have a go at your football club. We're really weird like that as a people. We always I know we want to protect our football clubs, but what we do is we have a go at the journalists who only report what your football club's telling them. It's crazy. Honestly, it's crazy. But there we go. 7 out of 20 is 35%, not 33%. Yeah. But we all know when you're talking small numbers, it's a couple more losses of possession per game. We're basically at 50%. Do you know what I mean? It's practically half. But there we go. How close is the Frenkie de Jong deal nowadays? Seemingly not as close as it was before, if these reports are to be believed. Now, what's very interesting about these reports with Frenkie de Jong is it's from Sport. And what I've loved all summer has been the ebb and flow of football fans. When Sport have said there's been a breakthrough and Man United are closing in, I've been told that Sport are an unreliable, basically the Son of Spain network. When they say that he's going to reject Man United, suddenly I'm told that Sport is more reliable than David Ornstein and Fabrizio Romano combined. If Ornstein and Fabrizio Romano, with a sprinkling of who's another one? Damasio, if they all made a child together, Sport are currently more credible than that. because the news fits everybody's narrative. We'll see what happens. We'll see if he does. There are people rejecting this notion. There's a lot of people that think that Frenkie de Jong will not accept the pay cut, especially with them still owing him £17 million and the money they've spent elsewhere on other players. But we'll see. We'll see how this kind of transpires and how this moves forward. But it is getting to that point where United need to be, whatever United decide to do, they've got to be confident. They've got to be confident they're going to come out on top. So even if we see them do nothing towards Tielemans this week, next week, week after, and they keep pushing with Frenkie, they've got to know they're going to get him. They've got to trust what Frankie's telling them and his team are telling them 110%. But yeah, right now, it does feel worrying, 110%. Let's have a look at some more of your comments here. Terry, why not concentrate on Anthony since Frenkie de Jong is acting up? Well, I don't think Frenkie de Jong is acting up. They are concentrating on Anthony. They've had talks, they're having conversations. They're negotiating on the price. Yeah, so that's what you're asking for is actually happening. You must have read those reports, brother. You have to have read those reports. Because you've all got the same internet as me. You've all got Twitter, and Twitter's where the news gets shared first nowadays. You've all seen those reports. So that's a very obscure thing for you to say. They are focusing on that deal. 110%. Good morning, Tony. I hope you're well, my friend. I really, really do. Make sure that like button's being smashed. 850 likes, and we'll give away some free memberships for you. Also, remember, we are, as you know, sponsored by our friends at Private Internet Access. Unbreakable VPN security. You can see there your card details, credit card details, your face IDs, your passwords, and all your personal information fully 110% protected. You can use our VPN on all your devices, iPhones, Androids, laptops, MacBooks, iMacs, PCs, and much, much more. Get that signed up now. What you also get is 0 restrictions and unlimited content. With thousands of servers in unidentified countries, you can easily access all of your favorite content on a regular basis. You know, when you've been abroad and you try and watch something on an iPlayer and it says, sorry, not available in this region, this sorts it out. It's also got a built-in ad blocker as well. So for someone like me that likes watching YouTube on his desktop when he's working, this stops all the adverts from popping up, which is absolutely great. £1.63 per month you can get this for. So go and get yourself signed up. Link in the description or scan that QR code on the screen. Just got the numbers through. 17 people signed up this weekend and are using it. And that's nearly 350 people since we've started working with them, which is absolutely phenomenal. So well done, you. We have a super chat here that says, can Barca be investigated regarding their current financial ongoings? Something ain't selling right. Corrupt. They can be investigated. I don't necessarily think Barcelona are doing anything wrong, though. If I'm being really honest, I don't think Barcelona are necessarily doing anything wrong. Is their new financial model going to work over the course of time? We will see. If they end up back in another financial difficulty in a period of time. But I don't think they're doing anything wrong. There's talk of another Chelsea hijack this morning, PSG thing. We will be speaking about that later on today with Dean Jones. So we'll delve into that story a little bit later today. Gunnar Ryan says, do you reckon Arsenal will buy one more player maybe? Well, the talk is yes. The talk is that Arsenal are still going to be active in this market. They're looking at another winger. They're looking at a midfield player. That's the word. Youri Tielemans has been on that agenda. Paqueta is on that agenda. We'll be delving into Arsenal more at 1:30 today with Dean Jones. So make sure you're back at 1:30 for the Done Deal show, where we're going to delve into that in a lot more detail. What else are we saying here? Savic for 34 million. Savic is available for 34 million. That's an absolute steal. It's an absolute steal. Breaking news, Crown Jewels robbed. Yeah, can you imagine? Can you imagine from where that was to where it is now? I have to admit, though, I love the transfer market. It's amazing. That's why I cover it. I love how a deal is done. The clubs are like, yes, boom. We'll get it rubber stamped and we'll get the paperwork signed, but it's done. Go to bed. It's finished. It's over. And then the next day, the world changes. I still don't quite understand how. And listen, you got to remember what Ben Jacobs said yesterday. Barca have still got to satisfy Sevilla. And at the moment, their bid is looking like it's going to be £25 million less than Chelsea's. That's crazy. I mean, if that's true, and it's £25 million less, come on now. That bit, I don't understand. That bit is weird. If Sevilla accept £25 million, I don't care if it's going to take 2 years longer to get it. That's 25 million quid. And 20% goes to Bordeaux. That's where I get people going, this doesn't add up. This doesn't feel real or right. We'll see. We'll see what happens. But yeah, it's a crazy one for me. It's a crazy one. But there we go. Let's have a little look. Edu says we have too many players in Paqueta's position, so he won't come in. Yeah, we'll see. What is interesting is that most clubs haven't got rid of anybody yet. If you actually think about it, Arsenal, Man United, Chelsea, even Spurs, for as good as their summer's been for incomings, no one's really got rid of a lot of their dead wood yet. I think there could be a lot of business in the next 2 to 3 weeks for outgoings for these teams, 3 or 4 each. That then will open up the doors for some later on in the window players. And who knows then, who knows what can happen. And it might not be Paqueta that Arsenal go for. It could end up still being Youri Tielemans. I mean, that was the brief that Arsenal gave all those weeks ago, that we can call our interest in him because no one else we've won the race. Quote unquote, it's a done deal. We're just going to activate it later in the window. I haven't understood it. I really don't understand why you just want to get him through the door, but we'll see what happens. We'll see how that one progresses and moves forward. That must have been an Arsenal fan, Sam Milinkovic-Savic, for 34 million euros. When they buy, they think it's for nothing. Milinkovic-Savic is more like 50 plus million. Yeah, I mean, I've read that. I mean, I don't know if they can get him for 34, but we will see. If Frenkie de Jong accepts the pay cut and gives up 17 million, this guy is a loyal bum I ever see. I mean, look, if that's what he decided to do, then that proves he loves the club. that is deep love. Like I've said before, if he does that legitimately, they need to put a statue outside the club. Frenkie de Jong's gesture of giving up 17 million quid plus 35 million pounds next year and then being paid weekly less than he was already on, that deserves a goddamn statue, key to the city. A go on any of the board members' wives. 100%. You get a night of freedom and passion, baby. Whichever wife you want, pick. Have them all. That would be crazy. But we'll see. Listen, I mean, a lot of the media are still saying they don't see it happening. You've got to remember, when you actually read the reports from last night, and we put them all up on the screen yesterday when we did the embarrassed video, and go check that out, by the way. I will be embarrassed if it does go this way, by the way. I'm not going to lie. But the reports did say Frenkie de Jong was told he has to do it or he's got to leave. They said that the manager and the player came out of the meeting happy. What they didn't specify on is what they were happy with. Like they've kind of alluded to how he's open to it. That doesn't mean he'll do it. Maybe they came out happy because we don't know. Like maybe it's like, well, look, if you leave though, you'll get your deferred wages. If you stay, you take a pay cut. You won't, whatever it is. And they walked out smiling, and the press like, oh look, they've come out of the room, they're smiling. That must mean that he's going to stay. I don't know. Like, it's not like sport have been right the whole way through. It was 3-4 weeks ago they told us there was a breakthrough and he was going to be a Man United player. So the ebb and the flow has been crazy. It was literally only 12 hours before that the Barca press said that he's just been told he's got to leave. And I was talking to a very reliable source from sort of the Barcelona press. And she just said to me, we're talking in DMs. And she said she was told last night that he's been told in no uncertain terms that he's got to leave. Of course, or take a pay cut. But she said he has no intention of taking a pay cut. 12 hours later, he's willing to take a pay cut. So we've seen, as I said, the ebb and the flow and the change in this has been crazy. So we'll see what happens. And everybody's reporting different things. But if he ends up taking a pay cut and United miss out, the biggest L here is actually on Erik ten Hag, because Ten Hag was the one that's kept Man United in this race by saying, no, I trust the player. I think I can get him. I'm confident in what he's told me. He's happy with the terms that we've offered. But we'll see. Juan here says, Terry, the rumor is Barca are going to pay 50 million plus 10 add-ons for Koundé. If that's true, that's euros, by the way. Okay, so that's euros. not pounds. Chelsea have bid £55 million, which is more. Have you heard it? I haven't heard that as well. But you've got to remember, so it's 50 million euros up front, right? The add-on will be performance related. But in terms of the upfront fee, it's 42 million. So yeah, I've read that one. That's still 13 million pounds less. But we'll see what happens. Can you ask Dean Jones about Dumfries from Inter to United and AWB out the door later, as I won't be about? I will do, my friend. I will definitely ask him about that. I don't believe that De Jong will take that deal, especially offers like half his wages. I think he is still holding out for his money they owe him and would be happy to come to Man United if he gets his money. Like, I hope that's the case. I mean, I've trusted in some really, like, people think I've got blind faith. I mean, I've been trusting very credible journalists with their story on this. But I've always said this deal to may not go through. What I've always stated is I don't believe in, and it's what my bet was about. I don't believe there was this notion of I don't want Man United, go away. I hate the story of I don't like Manchester. I don't like Man United Football Club. I don't believe any of that. I just don't. It just doesn't ring true to me. I don't believe our manager would have stayed in this long. So that's it. But do I believe if a PSG or a Chelsea came in, he would pick them over us? Yes, always said that. You know, if he suddenly changes his mind and says, actually, I've thought about it and I really want to stay. I mean what I said about it's my dream club and I love it and I'm willing to take that pay cut to help you, then I'll change my mind. But the credible reports have said he's not willing to do that. The majority of the credible reports over here have said that he's willing to join United, and the Barca press were the first ones to report that he's willing to join United. So I've just kind of stayed in that lane and waited for new information. What came out yesterday was the first time probably in a month that we've had proper new information. That's that he may now be willing to take that pay cut, which changes the complexity, changes my feelings, changes how I look at the deal. And that's what it's all about. New information, new facts, and new information come out, you change your mind. I'm feeling more nervous about that deal now than I have done for the entirety of the summer. Raj, yes, I have heard this transfer rumor. We're going to cover that at 1:30 with Dean Jones. So make sure you're here at 1:30 where we'll be delving into that in more detail. Baz here says, I doubt anyone would take this type of pay cut. It makes him a sucker, in my opinion, in terms of how the club treats players like meat. Listen, again, it's sound logic. That is sound logic. De Jong will also likely play centre-back for Barca. Yeah, I mean, this is what's crazy. Like, if he stays, he does love that club because it's a case of he's already not happy that he's not being played in his primary midfield position. He's now going to get played as a centre-back for half the money and give up 17 plus 35 million over the next couple of years. So he's giving up 52 million pounds, halving his wages, and playing in defence. Wow, that is love, baby. That is real love. That is serious love, Frankie. You might need like your head testing a little bit. That is crazy love, though. That is crazy, crazy, crazy love. Can you imagine? Imagine that you give up 52 million pounds. You give up half your wages, which is about 175,000 pound a week for the next 4. Let's do the total math on that. What is 175,000 a week? Right? 175,000 a week times 52. It's 9 million a year for 4 years. It's 36 million plus the 52 million owed. 88 million pounds. And he's going to get played in defence. Giving up 88 million pounds. Nah. That is crazy. Legitimately crazy. Crazy. I'm probably over egging those figures there, but there we go. There we go. But he's given up a lot of money either way. He's given up tens of millions of pounds to stay at Barcelona. Listen, fair play. They've got him in deep, bruv. Like one of them ones where like he's basically stroking their hair whilst they're getting piped and smashed by somebody else. It's okay. I do love you anyway. I'll run the bar for you afterwards. And anybody want a drink? Are you okay, sir? Do you want me to wipe your brow? Man's a cuck. Well, the reports are not that he's accepted. They've said that he's willing to do it. That's what the report has stated. But unless something news come out that I haven't seen this morning. But there we go. Sorry, I just read something. I want to read it properly. Terry, LVG ain't going to accept Frenkie de Jong as a centre back. Yeah, I mean, that's in. Can you imagine if that happens? He signs that new deal playing centre back. Yeah, you're not going World Cup now because I don't need you as a centre back. You're not a centre back. It might have just been for a game or two that he was there to be Frankie the Cuck. You're getting salty. I'm just having a laugh, mate. Like it's just a joke. It's just a joke. Stop simping for Barca. They won't exist in 2 years. We'll see. It's going to be intriguing to see what happens with Barcelona. It's such an interesting situation that they're in. It really is. I'm very intrigued by Barca, by what's going on, what they're up to, what they're doing. I really, really am. There we go. Frenkie de Jong is the guy to buy food for his girlfriend after she finished being Eiffel Towered by a rival. No, I don't think it's not that deep. It's just a bit of a joke. Never ever believe journalists ever. Well, it's not about not believing journalists. It's your club that's making that claim. So it's your football club that gives that journalist the detail. Now, what happens to the journalists is it's all about. Now, this is what I'll tell you. What will happen the next time the sources at Chelsea tell these journalists that a deal's done, they'll hold back. They 100% will hold back. And the journalist that I trust that said it was done, especially privately to me, I'll hold back from because you burnt us. You know, famously, Dean Jones got done by Arsenal bad in the summer of Pepe because Arsenal Football Club directly told him they will not be buying the player. They do not have the money for it. So he went out on the limb and said that it's not happening for these reasons. Arsenal then changed their mind, raised the money for it, bought him. Dean looked like the liar. But Arsenal did him bad. What Arsenal should have done is given him a brief. Gone, listen, we've changed our minds. We're now going to do this. Because you've gone out with this news. They didn't do it. They hung him out to dry. And football fans will always protect their clubs over a journalist, and I get it. But yeah, the journalists aren't the ones that get it wrong. They're just reporting what they're being told. Now, what's interesting, it depends what you want. Do you want minute-by-minute updates? Well, most people demand it. Therefore, you've got to expect that things change and go wrong. Or do you want to just get the report when it's done and they take you through what happened? Therefore, they'll be 100% right. And that's what's interesting about the most credible journalists, the ones that we trust the most. They're at a point where they don't need to tweet about or do a story until it is completely done. It's why they get called tap-in merchants. But it's because they don't need to go early because they've built the credibility up. They've made their mistakes in the past. But when you're on the rise as a journalist, you have to go earlier because you've got to get noticed. It's the nature of the beast in the industry. It's how it goes. It's how it goes. But there we go. Chelsea could have used Scamacca. It's going to be interesting to see what Chelsea do. And we're going to talk more about it at 1:30 with Dean Jones. But Chelsea have got to do something now. You know, they are, even I'm changing my stance on Chelsea in terms of they look far more the way it was being reported, the people I was speaking to close to Chelsea, but like, we're going to get these 2 or 3 deals in, things are feeling good, we'll move some players on. And it hasn't quite happened how they expected. It hasn't got over the line. So they find themselves in a little bit of trouble right now. So it's going to be very intriguing to see how things kind of progress and move forward. Man like Samuel, how are you, my friend? Long time no see. I'm very good. I'm very, very good. Got a really busy week ahead. We've got a big event that's coming up on the 3rd, by the way, people. 3rd of August. If you're interested in coming to a live Football Terrace event to preview the beginning of the Premier League season, a week on Wednesday, hit me up on Twitter or KJ up on Twitter and chat to us. It's going to be an amazing event that we're putting on and that we're doing and everything else. If you actually want to see, that's the poster for the event. You can see it on the screen right there. As you can see, we've got a great panel of Liez, Boovy, lead judges, Anita, Ricky Sachs, Grizz Khan going to be there, hosted by myself and Jessica Black, live in London. If you guys are interested in getting yourselves along to that and getting yourselves involved, please hit us up and let us know, and we can add you to the guest list. So yeah, that's going to be a great event. So very, very excited about that. Very, very excited about it. Just hit man like KJ up or me up on Twitter, and we'll get you kind of sorted out. KJ's kind of heading that up for us, really. There we go. Let's have a little look here. I honestly believe Frenkie de Jong has been promised his money somehow by Barca, because Barca wouldn't be blatantly hijacking players like Koundé. I mean, what you've got to remember is this, though. So if you look at the salary that I think the three players they showed on the screen was what they're offering Bernardo Silva, what they're offering. No, it was Kessie, Rafinha, and Lewandowski collectively are on less money salary-wise than what Frenkie de Jong will be on if he stays. So Frenkie de Jong's salary is the equivalent of 3 new signings in terms of their salary. And salary, by the way, is sometimes more expensive than transfer fees over the course of time, plus bonuses, which again is why net spend isn't real, because no one ever factors in the wages. And you have to factor in the wages because, you know, if you sign a player for free, but they're on 500 grand a week, it's coming out of a pot. It's still coming out of a pot of money. It doesn't grow on trees, especially not now. Most money in England is made of plastic, but there we go. But yeah, listen, it's going to be intriguing to see what happens with this now. But as I said, I'm starting to get a very bad feeling about the Jong situation myself. Greek to back here says it's funny. Chelsea looked really good, then they got beat by the Gooners and lose out on Rafinha and Koundé. Very fickle. Yeah, I think people are writing Chelsea off too quickly. Like, that's it. It's done. It's over. All is lost. I think that's an overreaction. But I do understand the frustration that's going through Chelsea fans right now, because everybody wants their prep to be the best that it possibly can be. It really does. Is the event in London? Yes, the event is in London. And Jess is here live for it. Yes. So, if you guys want to come down, it's going to be a great night, and we're going to have lots of the Terrace people there. Lot of my colleagues from Snack are going to be there. People from the media industry are going to be there. It's just a big night, not being live streamed. We're recording bits of it, but it's not being live streamed. We're doing an actual live event, exclusive, intimate live event. If you guys want to come down, get yourselves across. It'd be good to see some of you down there. It really, really would. We want some energy in the room as well. We want you there. Where is Zane, Terry? You've tweeted that messaged that the whole show. I don't know. I don't understand. I don't know. I don't know. All the way from Jamaica, Terry. Love your shows, man. Big up. Come on, you Gooners. Thank you very much, my friend. Thank you very much indeed. Yes, I think Colleen will be there as well. If you were asking, yes, Colleen will be there. Anita will be there. It's going to be a big good day. Most of your favorite football terrace people will be there. Pretty much all of them. So yeah, if you want to come down and meet us all, come on down. I agree, Terry. It's overreaction, but Chelsea haven't solved their defense or midfield or striker problems yet. Yeah, and I suppose my response to that is yeah. You know, listen, I totally get it. I totally get it. I totally understand it, and get where people are coming from. Just an update on the news in case you are new to tuning in today. Man United reportedly in big talks with RB Salzburg striker Benjamin. I've been told it's pronounced Šeško. Now, the original report says that the agent is in London finalizing the deal. The likes of Fabrizio Romano have had a very different take on this, a very different slant, and that's been very much that the deal is in early stages, not imminent, not close to being completed, not advanced in any way, shape, or form. I'm intrigued to know how quickly it may advance from this point, though, just based on a few of those factors, as we've already mentioned. In other news, it's been reported that Scamacca to West Ham is done. The player will travel to London tomorrow. This was printed yesterday, so it'll be today that he travels. That is from Barretta, who's a very respectable journalist. Interestingly, if you notice his wording, he says it's done. Of course, the medical still got to take place. Could still fall through. We've seen deals fall through that have been done already this summer. Remember, a done deal doesn't mean complete. I don't care what certain journalists say. A done deal doesn't mean complete. It can still fall through. Highly unlikely, but it can. This one probably won't. There isn't somebody else chasing, but we'll see what happens. Having said that, Remember, the Barca press said Barca had pulled out, and then they came back in. Do you know? It's like they waited for Chelsea to go asleep. So Chelsea were asleep, and they weren't aware of it, and they came back. You ever seen those films where like there's two armies going to fight each other in a field, like bow and arrow style films, and one attacks in the night when they're not ready? That's what Barca did. Chelsea were asleep. Also, another story that we reported on today is that Liverpool are leading the race to sign Jude Bellingham in the summer of 2023. But is that soon enough? Is that early enough for Liverpool, or should things be done sooner? I want your thoughts and I want your feelings on that, my people. I really do want to know what you think and what you feel about it. Let's do some more of your comments here. We should have gone for Scamacca. Terry, let's hope we can hijack. Well, he's going to be in England. It's easier to hijack when he's here, isn't it? If you're going to hijack a man when he's here. You know what I mean? Just meet him at the airport, something like that. Šeško is Slovenian. Yeah, I read that. Terry, do the laugh. Make me laugh. And then I'll do the laugh. I can't just do it at the drop of a hat. It's real, you know. It's like it is like legitimately a real laugh. And listen, during this show, 2 more of you have signed up to our VPN provider. You are absolute diamonds. You're diamond people. But it ain't really for me. You need that to protect yourselves. Legitimately, you need to go and get it done. It does so much for you. If you haven't done it yet, go and get it sorted out. As you can see, click on the link in the description and in the live comment section. 3 months free, 82% discount we can get you. And when you click on the link on the website, you'll see our badge. They've actually got our old logo on there. It's a vintage logo now. It's the vintage Terrace logo. But yeah, I don't miss it. I like it. It was great. But we've moved now. We've moved on. Bit of class now. Someone said he is Polish in the chat. Right. I hear you now. I hear you. I hear you. Dortmund aren't selling this season, so we're not sure what Liverpool can do except buy Nunez. Yeah, but they're not. If they can get Bellingham next year, they're not going to buy Nunez now. They're going to wait. My question is to Liverpool fans: do you think that's the right way to do it? That's the question. It's not. Did you get what I mean? That's the question, because that's what you're looking to do. So that's what I'm intrigued to kind of know and sort of understand, if that makes sense. If that makes sense. You never get Zayn on your shows anymore. In fairness, there's been barely any Liverpool shows all summer because Liverpool ain't done that. Liverpool ain't done too much. Liverpool ain't been around. But yeah, everyone will be back. When the games start, everybody will be back. Don't you worry. Don't you worry, my people. Everyone will be back. The Terrace is doing bits next year. We're doing bits. We've done some pre-season match reactions and we've smashed it, bruv. So we are going to next levels. And that's because of you lot. And that's why I have so much respect for you all. You're here 3 times a day, 7 days a week, come rain or shine. So, yeah, look, we've got a lot of work we're doing. We've got new content coming. Lots of content without my face on as well, which is nice. So I haven't got to keep wasting these vocal cords, my voice box. But, yeah, we've got lots on the horizon for all of you. We really, really do. Listen, someone here says, Terry, rate United window so far. So far, I'd give our window like a 6. The players we've signed have been great. I would have given it a 7 if they were a little bit sooner, but that hasn't happened. We haven't got rid of enough dead wood yet, and we still need those 2 more players. So if we can get rid of 2 or 3 more players that we don't want to use, land 2 or 3 more players, that we're moving towards 9.5s. Like if we were to end the window with Youri Tielemans, Anthony, and Dumfries, and we moved on AWB, we moved on Phil Jones, we moved on Bailly, I'd give it a 9.5 out of 10. For what Man United need, that'd be brilliant. Not every hole covered, not every area filled, but I'll give it a big one. If we got a DM as well, I'll give it 11. Is the Daniel LaRusso on the wall? Is that that is Daniel LaRusso on the wall behind me? Big Karate Kid fan. Always have been. Always will be. There we go. That was a damn good show. Did you guys watch the Hodgson twins? Hodgson twins? They make me die. They're actually hilarious. I watch them because I don't kind of agree with all their politics, but they're funny. They're good comedians. I honestly think that Chelsea's operates better with a bit of chaos. Don't be surprised if we win a major trophy or go on a madness this season. Sesko is confident. Hodge twins. It's Hodge twins. They are funny. You should watch them. They're funny. But there we go. 4.5 for you lot. No Deadwood shifted. Ronaldo problem. De Jong mockery. 4.5 is generous. Listen, I'm going to give it 6.5 because no one's really got rid of any Deadwood and everyone's rating other people's windows. Do you know what I mean? By your own definition, look at Tottenham. You got rid of none of your Deadwood. You lot, man, walking around saying you got a 10 out of 10 window. Do you know what I mean? Yeah, the Ronaldo thing brings it down a little bit, but you know, I'm backing I'm trying to back my team. I'm lying. I'd give it a 3. Really? You call me out? Don't call me out. Remember that these people, Chelsea thrive under chaos, is what Kingsley's got to say as well. We will see. We'll see. Listen, my people, 1:30 back with Dean Jones. Make sure you're here. 1:30. Wouldn't it be nice to go live with like nearly 2,000 people watching straight away? One day that will happen. One day you guys will be on time. Until next time, people, take care. Good.